Well, Trump has that unvarnished element, and that's also something that's very appealing to working class people, right? Because he doesn't talk down to people. He's got that gift of spontaneity. You know, he doesn't craft his speeches. And of course, that makes him a bit of a loose cannon, but people like that.
Jordan Peterson has discussed Donald Trump on several occasions, often in the context of psychological analysis, political commentary, and the broader social implications of Trump's rise. Peterson, a clinical psychologist and professor, tends to focus on the underlying factors that contribute to Trump's appeal, the polarizing nature of his rhetoric, and the psychological mechanisms at play in his interactions with both supporters and detractors.
This would be Mr. Trump's first appearance at the Derby in more than 20 years. He was here in 1999 with his then girlfriend and now wife, Melania.
Melania Knaus from New York, from Austria. Hello there, Melania. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Are you here to buy Churchill Downs by chance? Well, I'm certainly looking at it. Certainly beautiful, I'll tell you. I can't imagine a better investment.
There's a glass cafe above the Kentucky Derby grounds. There's about 150,000 people there. It was the first Derby after COVID. And Trump was, everyone knew, like the whole crowd of 150,000 people, plus the 300 or so in this restaurant, they all knew Trump was going to show up in the afternoon. It was like...
Jordan Peterson attributes Donald Trump's popularity and fame to his ability to connect with people on a deep, emotional level. He points out that Trump's bold, unfiltered communication style resonates with many.
It was like being in Rome.
My name is Maximus Decimus.
Peterson also notes that Trump embodies a certain rebellious, anti-establishment energy, which appeals to many who are frustrated with the status quo.
I imagine, or being around the Kennedys back in the 1960s, like the place was just buzzing.
By defying conventional norms and addressing the concerns of his supporters head-on, Trump has built a dedicated and loyal following, solidifying his status.
They are inviting people to attend, quote, with special guest President Donald Trump. The price to attend, $75,000 per person, $150,000 per couple.
He's so famous. Like, it's just an insane level of fame, right? Because, well, he was a TV star, and that's not an easy thing to pull off, and for quite a while, and he was a real estate magnate, and that's also quite difficult. And then he was president, and ridiculously controversially. Like, he's insanely famous. And you could just feel that that emperor-like worship in the air. In Britain, the Queen bears that. She's a figurehead. Imagine there's four branches of government. Executive, legislative, judicial, and symbolic. The president bears the symbolic weight in the US. It's not good because that tilts the polity towards deification of the president. That's why you have the first lady. It's like, what the hell's that? There's no first lady in Canada. You know, nobody cares who the prime minister's wife is, and that's right. That's rightly so. It's like the first lady. Well, that's the queen. You guys don't need a queen, but you want one. Made it to the Derby like with about 10 minutes to spare before they locked it down. The army was everywhere. The place was just buzzing, and Trump strolled in. And it was like, well, that much fame gives people a tremendous charisma.
The degree of animosity that people have for Trump is actually somewhat of a mystery to me, mentions Dr. Peterson. I can't quite crack it. There's a class thing there, I would say.
It's a lot for one person. It's a lot for one person.
Elitist people are annoyed that someone like Trump, or someone who they think Trump is, has dared to enter the upper echelons of the establishment.
I think he has a good family, and thank God for that, and he seems to have managed that well. And I know people who know him, and they have faith in him privately.
When I had some surgery in New York years ago, he took me out to dinner the night before. He took my wife out to dinner when we were here in New York, and he's always been I regard him as a good friend.
Trump is, people don't like, but Trump is the man. Trump is the man. He has this fan base, he has his supporters, and they're going to stick with him to the end.
He's that guy. He shows up.
His wife's great, too. She's a great lady. He has great kids. There's a lot to be said for Donald Trump. Yeah, there's a lot, you know. He's a good guy. He is really a good guy. He's not a racist. He's not. He plays to that crowd.
You can really tell a person's true character when they're happy for somebody else's success, okay? And I think that sense of loyalty and commitment will translate into how he will run this country. And let's be honest, folks, we need somebody who believes in this country, we need somebody who's proud of this country, and who will fight for this country.
He's a bully, and a very good one. He's an unbelievably sophisticated 13-year-old bully.
Interesting.
Like, his ability to wield a nickname is unparalleled. He's great. He's great at that. And that's a real superpower, although, and it's a mixed blessing because he's a 13-year-old bully. You know, I'm not trying to reduce him. Being a 13-year-old bully is kind of handy when you're dealing with the dictator of North Korea. You know, you want that kind of playground unpredictability. It's like, don't fuck with me. You don't know what I'm capable of.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
Let this serve as a warning, he tweeted, that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites, some at a very high level and important to Iran and the Iranian culture.
You know, and a more sensible person, you could argue, hasn't got that. There's that disagreeable trickster element to Trump that also gives him that vicious sense of humor. He's insanely funny.
Oh, he is.
I have a book, which I love. It's a library edition, beautiful volume called The Collected Poetry of Donald Trump. And it's all his tweets typeset beautifully. And they're hilarious.
They are.
Like, he's got a barbed tongue, man. Yeah. He's a viper.
Why not? Come on in. We're stupid, we'll take care of you, we'll pay. Get sick, we'll take care of your hospitalization. What kind of a plan do you want? Oh, Don, you're a little controversial. You're talking about illegal immigration. I said it's illegal. The premiums are going through the roof. The deductibles, frankly, you have to get hit with a Komatsu tractor in order to use them. They're so high. So what I'm going to do is span out. Show them the crowd, press. Show them the crowd. Show them the crowd. Look, they're not turning the cameras. It's a massive plant, one of the biggest in the world. They're going to make all these cars, trucks, and parts. They're even making parts. It's so big, they'll make the parts, the trucks. And I actually gave them a good idea. Why don't we just let the illegals drive the cars and trucks right in through the border? They don't have to even, it's true.
You don't do what Trump's done and be stupid.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, so I have a friend for whom he built a multi-million-dollar building in Chicago. And he finished it below cost and on time. Well, there's no more corrupt industry than construction, especially in Chicago or New York. Well, Trump played that successfully, and he built those buildings. You know, and my friend told me that Trump was there every week, walking through the building, checking things out, you know. And he was successful at that. And then he was a reality TV star for a long time. That's not easy.
Yeah.
Right. So he's got that showman element that's really integral to American culture.
Yeah.
Well, Trump has that unvarnished element, and that's also something that's very appealing to working class people, right? Because he doesn't talk down to people. He's got that gift of spontaneity. You know, he doesn't craft his speeches. And of course, that makes him a bit of a loose cannon. But people like that for the same reason they like these long-form discussions. It's like, well, we know you might be deceiving us, but not in a practiced and calculating way, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe some of your personality flaws are leaking through, but at least that's kind of like honest deception. I thought when Trump won, I thought, well, they preferred the spontaneous lies of Trump to the calculated lies of Hillary.
Yeah.
You know, and that's very cynical, but there's something about it that's accurate.
And I will build an iron dome over our country, a state-of-the-art missile defense shield made in the USA. We do it for other countries. We help other countries. We don't do it for ourselves. We need it too.
No wars on Trump's watch. Right. He got no credit for that. That's a big deal. We've had plenty of wars in the interim. And God only knows if we're in the middle of World War III. We certainly could be.
Right.
Right. And God only knows where it's going. And then the next thing is, Trump managed the Abraham Accords. Yeah, well, he should have got a Nobel Peace Prize for that. Obviously, it was the biggest move forward to peace. It's even held through the Hamas crisis. It's a bloody miracle. You know, and if Biden would have had an ounce of integrity on the foreign policy front, he would have rewarded Trump for the Abraham Accords. Maybe Trump would have just rode off into the sunset if he would have got some due credit. And they would have brought Saudi Arabia into the fold, because that was on the table. I know that for a fact.
Trust in major institutions has been unbelievably weakened in the last 5 years. Many people don't trust the medical establishment. Many people don't trust the psychological community. Many people don't trust higher education, or media, or government, or the judiciary, he said. The Trump voters think, and rightly so, well, if they're going to persecute the person I voted for and would like to vote for again, what's to stop them from persecuting me? And that is a perfectly valid question, Peterson said.